Hi, welcome back to Food and Whatever. This is your host, Christina Villafane. Today I'm going to be making one of my boyfriend's all-time favorites, Cuban sandwiches. Except these are not going to be your normal size Cuban sandwiches. I'm actually going to make what I'm calling Cubanitos. Little sliders, but in the version of Cuban sandwiches. The only thing that I don't have, and it's because I don't have a taste for it whatsoever, are pickles. I do not like mustard, but I am going to add the mustard with the mayo. I have salt, pepper, I have thinly sliced pork. This is pork loin. Originally they make pernil, which I've actually showed for the Christmas edition, but I don't have time right now to make a pernil, and it's too much of a chunk of meat to be cooking just for little tiny sliders. So I went ahead and bought a pork loin and cut a very small amount of the loin and cut it into thin strips. I also have Swiss cheese, I have ham, and I'm actually going to go ahead and use for my sliders King's Hawaiian bread. This is more of a sweet bread. It is not Cuban bread, but this is the perfect size that I'm looking for, and it's very, very good. I also have minced garlic that I'm going to go ahead and heat up. So now I'm going to go ahead and season the meat. I'm going to grab the salt and the pepper. I am going to be using a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Remember that you are also going to be using the mojo, and you're going to have mustard, you're going to have Swiss cheese, you're going to have ham, so you really don't precisely want to add too much salt to your meat right now. I'm also going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper to the meat. And for those people who do not eat pork, this is a very traditional sandwich that uses pork. But if you do not or cannot eat pork for dietary reasons or for religious reasons, then you can go ahead and substitute maybe a turkey ham or smoked turkey breast instead, and just go ahead and use the bread and the mustard, the pickle, and the Swiss cheese, and the mayo. But because I am doing it traditionally, except for the pickle, I'm going to go ahead and add the pork. I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of oil. I'm going to go ahead and add my pork to the pan. And again, they're going to cook kind of quickly because of the simple fact that they're so thin. Make sure that you do separate your meat. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and leave them to cook. And to my other pan, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of oil. And let that heat up. And to that, I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. Be mindful, you want to keep your garlic in a low temperature because your garlic will burn. You're not looking to burn your garlic, you're not looking to brown it. You're just trying to release the flavors of the garlic into your oil, which you will be putting on top of the pork in the sandwich. So you can just let it cook a little bit and let that oil get infused with the garlic flavor. So I have another pan over here heating up, so when I am ready to put everything together, I will be heating up the little tiny sliders. I also want to go ahead and turn my pork over, and you see that's a nice little color. Like I said, they will be cooking really, really quickly. The simple fact they are small and thin. want to go ahead and take off my garlic and just let it go ahead and sit there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to the cutting board as my pork finished cooking. And I'm going to grab a slice of ham. I went ahead and cut it into quarters. And onto that, I'm going to go ahead and fold them in half. Okay, now for my Swiss cheese, I'm going to also cut it. But I'm going to cut these into squares, into quarters. So that could be placed on top of each of those hams. And I'm going to go ahead and slice them open. And be careful when you're getting the King Hawaiian bread. It is very soft bread, so you got to be careful that you do not. You can either use a knife to cut it, or you can actually, it's so soft you can actually tear it with your hands apart. I'm going to go ahead and be adding the mayo. Be mindful that your pork is cooking. So let's go ahead and get this pork, turn it off the eye. But this is really ready. And I cannot stand mustard. My boyfriend had to pick spicy mustard of all things. Thanks, honey. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the ham to where the mustard and the mayo is. And I'm going to put the cheese in the bottom, so when I do put the pork and push it in, the cheese could start getting a little bit soft and gooey. So to this, I'm just going to add just a few pieces of the pork. Technically I have 2 pieces there. And to this, I'm going to add a little bit of that garlic or mojo. This is going to give it that taste that the roasted pork or the pernil will have. And now that my pan is hot, so I'm going to go ahead and put it together. And let this get toasted. Now you see the nice golden color that it has. Make sure again that you be careful with the Hawaiian bread if you are using Hawaiian bread, because it is a sweet bread, so obviously we'll have a lot of sugars in it. But as you can see, you got the Swiss, you got the pork, you got the mayo, some of that mustard. The only thing I'm missing is the pickle, because I do not eat pickles whatsoever. Now that is a slider. This is my version of the Cuban sandwich, a cubanito, and it is not your typical slider, and it's a quick version of the Cuban sandwich. So, ode to the Cubanos, and I hope that if you guys do try it, it does taste good. So, talking about tasting, let's go ahead and eat. Again, we have your pork. We have some of that mustard, the Swiss, the ham. And I think the best part of it all, other than coming together, is the Hawaiian seed bread, because you got some of that sweetness in there. But it's a really, really good sandwich. Great for little parties. This is, again, my version of the Cuban sandwich, Cubanitos. And as always, thank you for watching. Have fun, enjoy, and God bless.